Hello, and welcome to Behind the Lab. My name is Tom Morrissey. I'm the Artistic Director of Theater Now New York.
And I'm Colleen Harris. I'm the Managing Director. This is our series where we talk to the writers in our Musical Writers Lab about their projects and their process. And today we're reunited with Dylan Glatthorn and Will Lacker. We're going to talk to them about the progress they've made on their musical, The Pelican.
If you'd like to find out more about Theater Now New York, you can go to our website, www.tnmy.org. And also, please follow us with our handle @TheaterNowNY.
And make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of our future episodes. Now here's Dylan and Will. Welcome back. It's good to see you guys again. For those who maybe didn't see your first video, can you just remind us who you are and what you do as part of your team?
Sure. I am Dylan Glatthorn, and I write the music and I co-write the lyrics.
And I'm Will Lacker. I co-write the lyrics and I write the book.
Fantastic. And last time we spoke, it was several months ago. A lot has changed in the world. A lot has not changed in the world. What has changed in your work and in your partnership since then?
So I think the last time we spoke was March or April. It was right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Could be, yeah.
I think the main thing that's changed for us is we finished a first draft of our musical, The Pelican.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, Dylan.
Yeah.
I was thinking of like how's our process changed. I mean, certainly since the last interview, I'd say not too much other than just ramping up the amount of times that we're meeting and the work we're doing. But that's all because we were finishing the first draft of the musical. So yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a lot about The Pelican today because I know that that's the big thing that's going on in your creative lives. So let's just start from the beginning. What inspired you to write this piece? Like, describe a little bit about the plot and what made it spring from your minds.
I feel like there's a long version of this and a shorter version. Why don't you take it, Will?
Well, just a little. So The Pelican is essentially about a coastal Florida town in the future that is, because of climate change and rising waters, has the once metropolis is now essentially isolated or has been converted to a few small habitable blocks, and the musical revolves around the people who have chosen to stay even after pretty much everyone else, including like the government, has abandoned this town. So that being the sort of location, what inspired us is the fact that Dylan and I are both from a small, well, not a small, coastal town in Florida that if everything, keeps going the way it's going, very well could end up like the location that we set our musical in. So that was a big inspiration, I'd say.
In terms of your music style, who were your musical influences?
I feel like I had a very eclectic upbringing as far as musical influences. From my parents, there was definitely a span of time where I only listened to the Beatles. So that's definitely a huge influence, as it is with almost everybody in existence. And then theater, I would say Godspell was the first CD I ever bought, so Schwartz is definitely a huge influence for me.
You nerd.
but then, my dad was a huge Jimi Hendrix fan and Led Zeppelin and Janis Joplin. So I feel like it comes from all different angles, and then obviously classical, and I do a lot of film scoring, so Gershwin and Copland. So I like to think that everything kind of goes into the stew and has come out the way it's come out.
Well, that makes sense. And Will, how about you for lyrics? I know both of you guys do the lyrics, but is there anybody who has been a huge influence on you?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I had a very eclectic musical upbringing as well, and continue to sort of listen to a little bit of everything. As far as specifically this show goes, we were very much influenced, I'd say, at the beginning by singer-songwriters, some being a little bit more nicer than others. Tom Waits being on the macabre side, we definitely were influenced by a lot of his sort of, like I said, macabre, vivid descriptions. But at the same time, when we were first starting off, I was intentionally listening to a lot of early day Paul Simon right after they broke up with Simon, right after he and Simon and Garfunkel split, simply because of his narrative storytelling and the like worlds revolving around individuals that he tends to paint. Yeah, I'd say those two, directly, indirectly. We listen to a little bit of everybody. As far as the music goes, I feel like we were looking for things that are a little groovier, a little funkier. We listen to a lot of jazz too, or at least I do, and that
Bill
that
Evans,
definitely,
right?
Bill Evans definitely creeped in there at one point in time.
Now let's take a listen to the Pelican and see if you can hear those musical influences. This is the opening number called In the Sunshine, and in it, the mayor, who's an unreliable narrator, is introducing the audience to this dystopian world, as well as all of the characters and the bar that are the epicenter of the Pelican.
You come to bear witness to the fall, to the end of it all. The last gasp of a town on the drop edge of nowhere. Abandoned, forgotten, left to drown in the sea. But it's not all bad. At least you got me. Far from now and tomorrow, where time is rushing to a stop, miles away and right next door, the earth is raging war, and paradise is on the front line. Florida! A land the gods forgot about, left to go wild in the winds off the water. Ghost towns that forgot to die, they might be gone in the blink of an eye. Some saved, some forgotten, cities bought up, others left to rot. But that's the rest of the world. Here at the Pelican, it's just another day to enjoy the sunshine. Hey, 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 thoughts lead to frustration. So sit back and sip your wine. Let go of civilization. Might as well, it's so hot as hell in the sunshine. Hey, 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 hey. Sunshine. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, pirates and scallywags, maniacs of all ages, welcome to the Pelican Bar, Florida's finest, and your home for the foreseeable future. Let me give you a tour. Watering hole, post office, general store, loony bin, and the place I lay my head on stormy nights when the wind off the water cuts like a razor. It's a one-stop shop. The only place to be if you're nobody nowhere. You feel that hot perspiration, sunburn, live and learn. It's dripping down your spine. Fruit and feed, what a treat. 'Cause even God's on vacation. Barbecue, crack a brew. So what if he's not here? What's to fear in the sunshine? Hey, 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 hey. Sunshine, storm clouds on the horizon, water at your feet, air thick with heat. You stand surrounded by sunken houses, washed out stores, and other bones of the modern world. A beach town being swallowed by the sea. Just one of many. Wildfires, blizzards, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, nor'easters, droughts, floods, dust storms, heat waves, and the internet is spotty. When the world doesn't want you, where do you go? Daybreak, everybody bake. This is what we get for what we take. Who knew this would come true? On our own, what else is new? I can't, nobody there. Just sit back, take in the air. Another day in paradise. Every day in paradise. Another day to roll the dice. Every day in paradise. Oh, ain't paradise. I just wish I had some goddamn ice. Dark skies and rising seas. Only pain. Ain't nature divine? Tall man, heaven sent. You better get down on your knees and pray. It's just another day in the sunshine.
So last time we spoke, you guys were still kind of in an early process with this show, and now here you have finished your first draft. Did anything turn out really differently? Yeah, give yourself a round of applause.
Yes.
Dylan, I'm patting you on the back.
Patting you on the back.
We're pausing for audience applause here on YouTube. Did anything turn out really differently than you originally imagined it would?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we tend to our process. We know where we're going always. We outline everything, and we have a clear goal that we're aiming towards. But inevitably, in the process, the story takes over. The characters begin asserting themselves, and you start realizing what the musical needs. And so it very much adapts to whatever new influence that either the characters or the story are making on our overall vision. So yeah, it's definitely changed.
I mean, if we want to talk about originally, like the first inkling of the Pelican,
Oh, sure.
or at least one of them, was based on in St. Petersburg, Florida, where we're both from. In the 1970s, the Sunshine Skyway Bridge collapsed when a boat hit it, and it was just this catastrophe. All these people died, and we were kind of having the idea, well, what if there was this one person who she was planning on jumping off the bridge at that moment, and then rewind, what is her life building leading up to that? Obviously, the show is much different now.
Yeah.
But
no
I
longer
feel
set in the 1980s, but like arguably like the
2080s, yeah.
2180s.
Sometime in the future, but I feel like an argument could be made that the idea of that character is still held a bit in Zephyr. The idea of somebody feeling lost, feeling depressed but hopeful in a way, and ultimately leading to a much happier place than what we had originally intended.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That sort of desperation versus hope feeling is definitely present in the current version of it, which, speaking of the current version, not only did you finish your first draft, but just a few weeks ago, Theater Now produced a developmental reading of The Pelican, funded in part by NAMP's Frank Young Funds for New Musicals. How did that step of hearing your work performed by actors, how did that help further this musical?
Oh, I mean, that's a vital part of the process. Writing musicals and writing anything really is such an isolating thing. Dylan and I are lucky enough to have a partnership, so we're able to bounce ideas off of each other. But even then, the entire musical, when we're reading it, when we're evaluating it, is just us. So we get used to doing things a certain way. We have all the insights needed for all the characters, and to give it to someone else, which is the nature of theater, right? When you collaborate with somebody else, all of a sudden their opinions, their impressions, their emotions breathe life into this story and ways that you never expect. And it is hard to predict that unless you can see it realized. And once you do, the show takes on such more meanings. You can see how things really flow. You can see where you need a little bit more work, what things come across, what things don't come across, what things land that you never expected to land. You know, it's just it's an essential part of the process. And this was really, really valuable to have actors beyond us.
Yeah, I mean it's helpful to have any actors, and of course doing it on Zoom had its own limitations, but having the level of actors that we did have was even that much more helpful in seeing what it could look like in a fully realized vision.
Yeah, they really gave it their all.
Yeah.
Let's return now to the world of the Pelican with the song The End, which doesn't actually happen all the way at the end of the show, but rather at a pivotal moment during which a hurricane is battering the town, and the characters have gathered in their favorite bar, the Pelican, to ride out the storm. In this song, the bartender, Deborah, is helping them all learn how to cope with what may be imminent disaster. Here's The End from the Pelican.
Hell is upon us, feel the fury of the sea. Rain's lashing sideways, it's a brutal symphony. The sky is caving in. Wind is howling, the wolf's at the door. There's only one thing I'll regret, and that's dying here with her. I'd give it all to go back to the way things were. I can't believe this is the end. All this effort, what's it been for? I won't lie to you, this is looking bad. We're probably gonna die. But why focus on the fears? Why not celebrate the good times and the tears? Through the years, let's do one last shot for the end of the world. To every enemy and fair weather friend, one last shot for the death of it all. We're the ones who stuck it out till the end. So throw one back for the final blow, and pour one out for the Pelican and everything we know. What the hell are you waiting for? I can't hold this back alone. The windows are shaking. Listen to this old bar groan. She's trying not to fly away. The earth has come to settle the score. Life sure can be a bastard. Might as well die good and plastered. Let's do one last shot for the end of the world. To every enemy and fair weather friend, one last shot for the death of it all. We're the ones who stuck it out to the end. So throw one back for the final blow, and pour one out for the Pelican and everything. And if the lights should flicker out, nothing but darkness all about, we'll keep the party raging on and haunt this place long after we're gone. Raise a glass to all of you people I'm so proud to say I knew. I couldn't ask for better company. To sunset skies, to long goodbyes, to ugly truths and beautiful lies, to living the day until tomorrow dies. Let's do one last shot for the end of the world. To every enemy and fair weather friend, one last shot for the death of it all. We're the ones who stuck it out till the end. So throw one back for the final blow, and pour one out for the Pelican and everything.
what has it been like finishing the Pelican while being isolated from one another? Do you think that influenced the story or the music at all?
Absolutely, the story
Yeah.
and the influence, not directly. I don't think we were ever like, we're going to make sure the quarantine is reflected in this musical, but just the very nature of the musical itself. It's an isolated town cut off from most of the world where the people only see each other. So I just think the times began to reflect the story and the story began to reflect the times. Yeah. As far as the process goes though, I think we've been lucky enough to be very, adaptable. It hasn't really affected our work terribly.
Yeah, in certain ways, I could say it was almost an improvement because we didn't have an excuse to not meet anymore. You know, when you have to meet in person, there's the whole, can I really afford to get on the subway for an hour and go with it? But this way, it's like there's no excuse. Zoom is a click away, so we would meet twice a week, all day Monday, all day Friday, and right through the day.
Silver linings.
Yeah,
silver linings. Yeah, you got to look for them these days.
Yeah.
The first time that we worked with you guys was with your show Bittersweet Lullaby, which was in Soundbites. Which Soundbites was it?
6.
Soundbite 6. Okay, so a couple years ago. And recently it got published in our anthology of 10-minute musicals, which we're super excited about. And soon, early this year, it's going to be licensable through MTI. I'm wondering if that's something you guys foresaw when you first started working on this 10-minute musical, and what it's meant to you to have that happen.
Did we foresee?
Not at all. I didn't see. I mean, we started writing Bittersweet Lullaby as a palate cleanser after we finished our last musical, Edison, and before we, wanted to jump into what turned out to be the Pelican. But no, I would say it almost felt like we were beginning to write Bittersweet Lullaby as an exercise of sorts, and then we happened to see that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Will. And then we saw that Soundbites was their submission process was open, and so we rushed to finish the first draft and submit it, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I think. At the time we were treating it as a palate cleanser, as Dylan mentioned. I was in my wildest dreams. I was like, well, maybe we'll produce this someday. But I had no idea that it would be licensed, and then we'd be able to take advantage of this fantastic opportunity. It's very common to have 10-minute scenes in anthologies and collections, but the 10-minute musical hasn't necessarily been something that I had on my radar. And it's such a good idea, especially for licensing for educational purposes and regional theaters. And so we're really ecstatic to be involved in it.
For licensing with the future of this show, like what do you hope? Do you hope that this is done a lot in colleges or high schools, or what are the streams? Like what do you how both. Everybody do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think, with the Pelican going back to, our roots, I think it would be wonderful. We're both we grew up in arts magnet schools in Florida. And so I think a dream would be that our alma mater, Pinellas County Center for the Arts down in
dropping the name too,
St. Petersburg, would put it on, and we'd be able to come back and visit as co-authors of this new work.
It really is. I think it works very well in educational theater, but as well as regional theaters too. One of the things I really like about that show is it allows for actors to sink their teeth into something, as well as singers to engage with that talent as well. So it is, I think, very approachable for a lot of people, and a little different than maybe a 10-minute musical, the 10-minute musical that they're expecting. So I hope it has a long and fruitful life somewhere, or everywhere.
We'll have to send a perusal copy down to your alma mater.
Oh, gosh.
So then going back to the Pelican, what do you guys see as the future of that, and what are your next steps?
Well, right now we're taking what we learned from the reading and applying that to a second draft. And we're also currently submitting it to as many things as we can, including
NAMT Festival of New Musicals, which would be a great next step since they were so integral in funding this initial reading. We're really excited to see where it goes from here.
Well, congratulations on getting your first draft done, on getting your
Thank
first
you.
reading done, on getting published and licensed, and congratulations on continuing to do all this wonderful work during a time when a lot of people have had a really hard time doing that. So, you deserve a lot of kudos for that. Thanks for being here with me today.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you, Theater Now.